Did you have fun in Vancouver this weekend?
What are you talking about?
Atlanta, Vancouver,
So
Canada.
we claimed to go to Georgia,
Yes.
and
It's
Superstar said that you were in Vancouver.
It's close to Chicago. He would know.
It's close to Chicago.
All of Canada is close to Chicago.
He has to man the border up there to keep people out.
Right.
He
When
informed
did he join the Border Patrol?
He's the superstar.
Pretty high up.
In fact, he's even got his brother, the other superstar, Charles.
I think
But
he watches the border up there on your trip to Maine recently.
Remember you went to Maine.
Went to Montreal.
And that's okay. The Hockey Hall of Fame's a great place to visit. Fans, welcome to this week's episode of Wrestletalk. A lot of stuff going on in national wrestling. Some stuff going on locally. Of course, SummerSlam's coming up. Hardcore Justice was last night. At Hardcore Justice, we got a new TNA champion, Kurt Angle. The interesting thing about it is, Kurt Angle got help from Hulk Hogan to win the title from Sting.
I thought he was going to train for the Olympics.
Apparently he's going to do both, or maybe just be the heavyweight champion.
I guess being the champion is training for the Olympics. Well, one thing about it, I don't know what their plan is for this. Ric Flair says that in a recent interview, he's going to take on whoever won that belt. And probably
that's going to be
pay-per-view.
awful.
That's going to be a Flair versus that champion match that they have set up at this point. I hate to see Flair back in the ring, but
I never thought I would say the words, I hate to see Ric Flair in the ring.
apparently that's the plan for now.
I think he truly needs to go into announcing.
He would make a great announcer.
Do the color commentary. He's got to be better than.
He would make just a great manager. You could bring back the great manager. The era of the great manager is gone, but maybe he could start it coming back.
I mean, he could. I was reading an article in WWF Magazine this week. It was involving how the managers vied for the attention of Bam Bam Bigelow. Granted, it was an old magazine.
Yeah.
Bam Bam Bigelow.
Probably 25 years old.
Bam Bam's a little dead these days, unfortunately, and I think a couple of those managers are.
Yeah.
Actually, I think, except for Humperdinck, they're all alive. Brain's still with us. Jimmy Hart. Johnny Valentine, as far as I know, is still alive. Mr. Fuji lives in Jeff County. And Slick's still around.
Does Hart do anything now? Does he have any TNA?
No, he was in TNA to begin with, and then he just... When the Nasty Boys went away, so did he.
That's just...
The upside of that was the Nasty Boys went away.
There's that. That's a shame, though, that the managers are gone. They were such a great part of wrestling.
Patrick, we all know that you're a fan of Pity City. It was your signature move for a while.
Pity City is an awesome move. You should see people flee in terror when I throw
You really don't want to get sent there.
No. I mean, do you want to go to Pity City?
Not really.
See?
If it's really cold, maybe your hand's there.
No.
Not the face.
I don't think.
I mean, I guarantee I could go get that Carly girl right now and offer to send her to Pity City, and she'd say no.
I doubt she'd know what that is, Patrick.
Oh, and I would lift up my head and put my armpit and put her head right there, she would. From everything from everybody I've talked to that watched the pay-per-view, they said the match of the night was the tag team match with Beer Money Incorporated.
That doesn't surprise me. Beer Money's a really good tag team. And you actually can have good tag team matches if, WWE Vince, if you would actually bother with it.
In fact, they literally just split up. Probably my favorite tag team they had in WWE because they released Vladimir Kozlov, who was teamed with Santino. Mm-hmm. There was a big round of releases. Of course, Kozlov's gone. Melina is gone. D.H. Smith, son of the British Bulldog Davy Boy Smith, is gone. And apparently Chris Masters was still there until yesterday. And they released him.
I hadn't saw much of him. And somebody said Gail Kim may have quit.
I did hear there was another diva that was no longer with the company.
Divas, I don't really care that much about.
They
I'm not
pretty
sure
much
any diva is still there at this point.
Yeah.
I mean,
they don't have storyline. Essentially, their matches last 45 seconds. It's so
I mean, I miss Trish Stratus,
Lita.
Lita, Sunny. But back when
Medusa.
yeah, even Sherry Martel and Moolah, those women could actually wrestle.
Yeah.
Sherry was pretty scary.
She was.
Sensational to some people, but scary to others.
I remember when she toured Continental when she was the AWA Women's Champion, which made no sense to me because they were always NWA affiliated. But
It was fine.
Yeah.
She probably had got a couple of crack rocks and some gas money.
Well, she did take on she did take on Exotic Adrian's valet, Miss Linda.
Surprised she didn't take on Exotic Adrian.
Ah, the exotic one.
We really should have him on. He's a fine Australian.
I should maybe. I've still got his cassettes. I don't have a cassette player.
I'm going to assume, since he's from New South Wales, that Sarah, who is going to arrive soon, probably knows.
I would think so. I mean, that's the same.
Seems reasonable.
I mean, it's like everybody in Saskatchewan.
Don't know anybody in Saskatchewan. I've never been there.
Don't deny it. I mean, come on. It's out now for everybody. So you've been driving around town with the big Canadian flag plastered on your vehicle for everyone to see.
I'll post that picture eventually.
I had that painted over.
Somebody painted over that?
God, that's tragic.
I had it fixed.
Look,
I will find those vandals and punish them, Luke.
You're the vandal that put it on there.
Don't hate, man. Don't hate.
I was going to say, we will get it back on there for you.
Don't
No.
We'll get it back on
I had to pay good money to get it took off.
We will even try to find the state flag of Saskatchewan if you have one. I'm assuming it's probably going to be a polar bear riding a monkey. Something along those
Polar
lines.
bear riding a monkey.
That's what
That
they
makes
love.
sense to me.
It makes no sense.
We'll try to get it over
There's
there.
no monkeys in Canada
Yeah,
except
put
for
on
the
your
zoo.
hood.
I'm sure. It's like there's
If
no
you
monkeys
go way
around
down
here
in
except
South Canada to where it gets jungly, where it borders Guatemala, there's
border. It's a
South
border.
Canada.
No.
Yeah.
Canada does not border Guatemala at all.
Yeah, it's like you go down below California and go way down, it comes into jungle, and then it borders Guatemala way down there.
No.
South Canada.
No.
Pretty sure it is.
I know you're a brilliant person.
I know if
Doesn't make
Stevie.
sense.
I know if Stevie were here, he would agree.
I doubt it.
I'm pretty sure that he's the one that told me this.
How does it's up there? It's north. Canada is north.
Okay, now here I'm going to say this.
Guatemala is south.
You're the head of the RPA, the Redneck Protection Agency.
Yes.
We all know that hillbilly is a term that originated in Michigan. Michigan borders Canada.
I'm pretty sure Michigan is part of Canada. It's just a secret plant down here.
So rednecks are hillbillies. Hillbillies originated in Michigan, which borders Canada.
The term redneck originated in North Carolina.
Because of the hillbillies from Michigan.
Yeah.
No.
They came down in the Civil War and called them rednecks. They thought they were Canada too.
I mean, your flag's red, your neck's red.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's when Canada tried to flank off in the Civil War. It came in from the west.
Canada had nothing to do with the Civil War.
Yeah, because they got lost.
In West Virginia.
They got lost in West
Got
Virginia.
lost in West Virginia.
The entire country got lost in West
Every
Virginia.
soldier in Canada got lost in West Virginia.
Now they have a descendant named Jessica White.
I'm pretty sure they ended up down in other Canada.
Other
Yeah,
Canada?
the one in the south.
Southern Canada. Borders Texas, California, New Canada, and Arizona.
New Canada?
Albuquerque's its capital, the land of enchantment.
I'm pretty sure Albuquerque was named sort of in honor of Alberta.
I think you're right.
You're talking about New Mexico.
Another highlight from TNA. Another highlight from TNA last night is AJ Styles did this incredible move. Look it up. Look up the AJ Styles Pele kick from Hardcore Justice on YouTube. He comes off Abyss's back.
You know, AJ Styles is a excellent wrestler.
He is.
He's good on the mic. Matter of fact, other wrestlers need to try to mimic AJ Styles.
AJ Styles. I mean, they were literally for a while. Even had Flair with him, grooming him to be their Flair.
Hey, they were pushing him big time, but I'm not sure what happened with that.
I blame Hulk Hogan and such.
I thought he was selling dryers now.
Yeah, but he's still he's still there. He does. Apparently, I was talking to my good friend Superstar Eric Charles.
Right.
Steve Mongo McMichael does Rent-A-Center commercials locally in Chicago.
You know,
And they've done some mashups with Mongo and Hogan doing commercials together.
well, that makes sense. Next thing you're going to tell me that superstar Eric Charles works for Mongo McMichael.
He does work
at
for
his
Steve
bar.
Mongo McMichael.
That's
He's
well
working
done.
for a horseman. Mongo was at least the 8th or 9th best horseman of all time.
At a 10?
Paul Roma and Sid Vicious
Oh,
were horsemen.
there was Sid Vicious. Yeah, that's true.
You're probably right on that one.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
He's not the worst.
He owns like a bar or something up there,
He
don't he?
does.
Yeah, every former Bear or Bull, if they want, can own a successful bar in Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually, quite a few Blackhawks can pull it off too. They love their Blackhawks up there, and I know you love hockey.
Former Cubs, maybe.
Probably not White Sox.
Maybe Ryan Sandberg, but yeah, most of the Cubs are pretty much losers. Yeah, the White Sox actually did win the World Series.
That's true.
They're from the south side. Chicago, the north side up there.
Didn't they?
You get closer to Canada, you go downhill in success.
Didn't the Cubs win something big a couple years ago, like the pennant or something?
They
Barred the guys
played
out.
in the national championship series, and the guy fumbled the foul ball.
Right. Yeah, that's what it was.
San Francisco went to the World Series. I think. I can remember. It's baseball.
We'll save that for other Wrestletalk that we'll shoot after this. Also, this week is SummerSlam, one of the big 4 pay-per-views.
Glad it's finally here. Not that I'm looking forward to it, but
Well, the problem is since it's here, why start listening to whatever they have next month?
that's the problem with it finally getting here. Is because it's so terrible with what's been building up to this one.
You know, I call it one of the big 4
It's
Because-
one of the 4 originals.
because when WWE only did a pay-per-view quarterly, it was pretty much SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania.
Right.
I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
And, you know, they were all big, important events.
Then they started that in your house thing.
Right, and
That was
it's been downhill ever since.
That was awful.
They rush storylines too much because you have to have this big storyline for your pay-per-view. They rush it through in 3 weeks. You have 3 weeks of storyline, and it's just terrible now.
I think it'd be great. They need to go back to at least every other month.
I agree.
That way, one, you can start actually making Raw and SmackDown actually mean something. I mean, right now, I mean, literally, Raw and SmackDown mean nothing.
That's why Raw is no longer the #1 show on cable.
That's also the reason why the ratings on their pay-per-view is in the toilets too.
And Raw and SmackDown are literally now 2-hour commercials for pay-per-views.
And it's like a lot of people accused kids' cartoons in the 80s of being, you know, half-hour toy commercials.
Recall that at all.
I remember when it was accused of it. You know, but I mean, that's all these Raws and SmackDowns are for anymore, is we must sell the pay-per-view. You know, and by all rights, Raw and SmackDown should be huge ad revenue generators. They should mean something.
Right. I'm sure they generate quite a bit of revenue ad-wise,
Nitro always meant something.
but
Yeah, matter of fact,
they
you
don't
had-
really deliver anything good to fans.
you had
It's
great
your only
Nitro
option.
party. I mean, people plan parties around Nitro. To get
Oh.
together with your friends, you watch Nitro. It was huge. Matter of fact, they even did a contest there for a while where they would go to somebody's Nitro party every week.
Usually with Disco Inferno.
Normally with this going on.
Oh, I wish Disco was back. What happened to him anyway?
I'm sure he's wrestling in a Walmart parking lot somewhere in southeastern Kentucky as we speak.
That's what I was saying. I think last time I heard he was in Kentucky somewhere.
He was
Like literally right now, he's in the ring at some Walmart or maybe, you know, even some Kmart up in southeastern Kentucky.
You know, then
You know, there for a while he was still contracted with WWE, and he was when they go to, because you know they would go to have special appearances at like Hooters and other restaurants.
he
It was
was,
him. It was him. He was the one that showed up.
at the last
Nitro.
the last Raw or SmackDown, one of the two that was here. Remember they were at the Harley Davidson dealership.
And they sent Disco
It
Inferno.
was Disco and somebody else.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the last Nitro they did in Knoxville, me, Stevie, Fat Kevin, went to Hooters because they were supposed to send a WCW champion, a former WCW champion.
Right.
This huge limo pulls up. We're like, this has to be Flair. It's a huge limo. Disco Inferno, former TV champion, gets out.
Oh,
Yep.
God.
And you had one lone man, when you walked in, you had one lone man in the back yell, Disco!
Oh, Disco.
I mean, it wasn't that Disco was a bad wrestler. Because Disco's a decent wrestler.
He's better than most of the guys now.
He is a good wrestler. He's decent on the mic. It's just for what I mean. Think about it. His gimmick is he's a disco man. You know what?
He's essentially John Travolta.
He's an eternally
He's John Travolta
from that
without
one
the
movie.
Scientology.
From that one movie.
Yeah, I guess without the Scientology.
Yeah, who knows? I got Disco made enough to afford to be a very good Scientology.
Well, honestly, think about it. It's actually kind of the same thing with John Cena. He is perpetually Marky Mark.
He is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he does not have the Funky Bunch backing him up.
It's true.
He is like a bigger version of Marky Mark. He may be one of their brothers. I don't know. There was a bunch of those
There
brothers.
was.
Maybe Johnny John.
I still think Mark Wahlberg should have sued him.
But the thing about Nitro in those days and the pay-per-views, they didn't run a story between pay-per-views. They kept the story going through the pay-per-view into the
Right.
next.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the storyline, the whole NWO storyline is a year and a half long or whatever.
Right. I mean,
That's-
just
that's-
look at some of the storyline. Look at the storyline they ran between Glacier and Mortis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I brought that
Yeah.
up.
Seriously? I'll like me some Glacier.
Glacier.
You know, you should buy the DVD so that I can watch it. You know, he has a DVD out.
Glacier had a
Glacier DVD.
Yeah, it was on that Nitro. It was advertised on the Nitro.
You're right.
DVD.
They did have one on Nitro.
You know, he would want Glacier. You know where Glacier's from? All Glaciers come from Canada.
They just move really slowly.
Doesn't make any sense.
And yeah, and actually it turned out that
Every Glacier.
Every Glacier.
Yes,
All of
every
them.
Glacier
Oh.
comes from Canada. They've spread around the world.
Okay.
Including
Just
the
like-
one you love so much.
You know, he might be. I have no
he
idea.
can't even speak.
I have no idea what
you know,
he's
it
from.
turned out that Mortis was the best thing coming out of that. Canyon was actually a good wrestler.
I like Canyon.
I hate that. I hate that he passed away untimely.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, Canyon died a couple
You
years
know,
ago.
he had a weird storyline. That he was a
Right.
pit fighter from South America. Or
Yeah,
something.
and then he turned out he was just one of Raven's childhood friends.
Yes.
Do you remember that
Oh,
terrible storyline?
In Crowbar.
Yes. But at least they had storylines.
Yes.
Yeah, but they were
Yes.
great storylines.
I mean, you
Yeah.
look at it now. I mean, like Evan Bourne. What storyline does he have?
nothing.
He would have had three storylines going with at least two different Mexicans if he had been a part of the Nitro days. Because that cruiserweight division, the mid card at Nitro,
Oh,
was incredible.
the cruiserweights, the luchadors, whatever you call the guys from Japan.
Japanadors.
Sure. They were awesome. They were high flyers. That was one of the things that I love. I mean, you never know what those guys were going to do because they would jump across the ring and flip around and stuff. It was cool.
I mean, there was literally only one storyline for SmackDown now, and one storyline for Raw, basically. And the rest is just a kind of a jumbled whoever.
Right. I honestly, I could not tell you who the tag team champions are right now.
Do they have
I think
They still have tag
still
teams.
the same Nexus guys or whatever.
Probably.
But they've dropped Nexus now. They didn't really.
They're just two guys.
Yeah, no.
Right, because Nexus was CM Punk and he quit there for a while or something.
And then they had the core, and they've dropped that.
The only storylines they have going right now are that I know of particularly are sort of the Christian Orton storyline, where Christian, for some reason, R-Truth have hooked up and decided the WWE is against Christian and they favor Randy Orton. And the
Well, R-Truth has
CM
been
Punk
saying that
storyline. That's it.
Right.
R-Truth has been saying that there's a conspiracy against him.
And
There should be.
That's
He's
the
terrible.
storylines. That's
He
the
is
only
awful.
ones there are.
But I mean,
And
again,
that's how bad. That's one of your main storylines.
Yeah, I mean, that's
the
it.
R-Truth storyline.
I mean, we don't have. I mean, look, Alberto Del Rio, as far as I know, has no storyline going right now, and he's probably one of the most talented wrestlers on the roster.
I think there may be a Sheamus Mark Henry storyline going too.
Speaking of Sheamus, he's going to be on Conan O'Brien this week.
They both
Probably
really
be
want
angry.
He probably will. And you know, I know a lot of people that don't like Sheamus. I think he's one of the ones that would benefit from having a good heel manager.
Oh yeah. Anybody with red hair and pale skin just has terrible anger management issues all the time.
It's true.
Their favorite color is usually red too. It's part of their flag. It's like the pale skin and the red shirts and stuff make the flag pop.
And you know,
Red's not my favorite color, by the way.
seriously,
You can't tell.
I have a few red shirts.
Well, I'm just saying.
I'll tell you another guy.
You look like a Canadian flag thing. It looks nice on
I'll tell you, yeah,
Canadian flag.
you do
Really?
I may sing the Canadian national
you. You
anthem.
look very dashing.
Please don't.
In fact,
Please don't.
let's go ahead and end this segment, and we'll be back with the next segment really shortly.
What was it? Oh, Canada, land of the